Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. You know, this week, Governor Jeff Landry announced that executions would begin again in Louisiana, this after about a 13-year pause. There was a piece of legislation in the state legislature that paved the way for this announcement. Joining me now is Nicholas Muscarello. He's a state representative from Hammond. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you for talking to us about this very controversial topic now. And I believe it was your House Bill 6 that expanded the methods of execution to include gas, and that would be nitrogen hypoxia to be specific. Is it safe to say that your bill is the reason Governor Landry was able to make his announcement this week?
Well, I handled the bill for the governor, so I would say yes, that's the reason that this is moving forward. The bill basically stated that there will be two forms of execution in Louisiana, nitrogen hypoxia and lethal injection. We haven't had an execution since 2010, if I recall correctly, and that person voluntarily asked to be put to death.
Right. And the lethal injection method, I believe, was problematic in the courts, which is, I think, what started all of this. I know when he made the announcement earlier this week, Governor Landry, I just want to read you a quote. He said, "I expect our DAs to finalize these cases and the courts to move swiftly to bring justice to the crime victims who have waited for too long." I spoke to a district attorney earlier this week about this, asking him when he could expect some executions to go forward. He said most of the cases, the capital punishment cases, are tied up in the courts. Do you expect this to happen anytime soon?
Well, I don't know the legal side of that and what's going on behind the scenes as far as, appeals and appellate review. But it's my appreciation that there are at least 4 people that have exhausted all appellate review protocol, and that they're up for consideration. The bill, basically, the reason we had trouble and the reason we needed the bill was with lethal injection. We were unable to get the concoction to perform the lethal injection. So the bill that I handled for the governor was basically did 2 things. It shielded the drug companies when they give us the drugs for lethal injection from being exposed. And secondly, it added another form of lethal, nitrogen hypoxia, which is another form of death. And, at the end of the day, DOC, the Department of Corrections, they have the last call on what form of execution will be used. So that has not been determined as far as I can tell.
Okay, we'll get to the opposition part in a minute, but you had mentioned some of the cases that had exhausted all of their appeals. Do you know of the Rapides Parish case?
I'm not familiar with any specific cases now.
Okay. Again, just talking logistics here, it looks like we could be a long way off before we see any of these executions start up again. But talking about the opposition, I know you faced a lot of opposition, you had bipartisan support as well. We've been covering this story all week. In fact, we spoke to State Senator Royce Duplessis, and he told our reporter, quote, "I think the death penalty is one of the biggest stains on us as a society, and to continue to revive and expand it, I think only brings us in the wrong direction." What's your reaction to that?
I'll tell you, there are 23 states that have executions, and the federal government still has it. And I've always said all along, my bill is not about the right or wrong of death penalty. If somebody wants to bring the bill to outlaw death penalty in Louisiana, they need to bring it. And if the body feels the need to do that, then so be it. But I look at it from a standpoint of we have made a commitment to the victims' families who have been done egregious acts, that we're going to give them closure. I mean, we've promised people. There's a gentleman in Baton Rouge, Wayne Gazzardo, whose daughter was brutally murdered. It's been over 20-something years, if I remember correctly, and he's still waiting to get his justice. So this is a commitment issue for me, and we have to honor that commitment.
I know the prior Governor John Bel Edwards, he often quoted his Catholic faith, said that he was pro-life when it comes to abortion, and he said that carried over to a full-grown adult as well. What's your reaction to that as well?
I think every person has the right to have the opinions in this world. I'm a practicing Catholic too. I see it a little differently, and I have no objection or problem moving forward with what we committed to the victims' families. Now, look, if they weren't ordered by a jury to be put to death, then I would have a different opinion. But everybody that's going to be put up for this consideration has exhausted every appeal, and I feel comfortable moving forward with it.
All right, well, we'll certainly keep our viewers updated on the scheduling of these executions as well. I know you'll be keeping an eye on it too. Maybe we'll be talking to you in the future. Thank you so much, Representative Nicholas Muscarello. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.